There is some foundation work happening at my house, so if you're hearing noises, that's all that it is. Hi there, I'm going to talk to you about something today that is pretty fun and also a good solution for a possible quilter's problem. So I am Nikki, this is Pin Cut Sew, and today we're going to talk about what to do with lonely quilt blocks. My mom used to sing this song about orphan socks from the dryer. I am an orphan sock or something like that. So that gets stuck in my mind, and now I always call my lonely quilt blocks orphan blocks. So this is a list of things to do. See, I have a big list with just single quilt blocks. And the reason you might have single quilt blocks lying around, orphan blocks, is because you maybe started something and didn't want to finish, or you just wanted to try out a technique. That's, in my case, that's usually what I do. Or sometimes I was making an improv quilt, the house quilt, and I made a big corner block and I ended up not liking it for the quilt, but I still like it. So now it's just sitting there on my design board. And then I'm working on another little booklet about wonky blocks, and I needed to try some things out. So now I have a design wall full of 7 orphan blocks that I need to find solutions for what to do with. Thankfully though, I have experience in this. Let me start by saying though that if this feels abstract to you, here are some tips to make these blocks work for whatever project it is you're trying to make with them. Sometimes, on rare occasions, your block might be the perfect size for whatever you need to do with it. Other times, however, you'll need to either make your block larger or make your block smaller or a different shape or something. So as we talk about this, I'm going to show you exactly how I did that with each project. I'm going to be putting pictures of all of the items that I have patterns for in my shop so that I don't have to consistently say I have a pattern for this in my shop. So when Layla edits this, I'll have her put little pictures and a ding up there for anything that you can hop over to my shop and buy a pattern for. And everything that I have a pattern for, I also have a video for. So I will tag as many of those as I can. Otherwise, there's a playlist of tutorials that I will link to also on my channel. Okay, let's hop into it. Okay, so the first of these is zipper pouches. This was, there's like Tic Tacs in here or something, so it's loud. I'll try not to move it around. This was a, I think, 8-inch block. I was just trying something out. I was trying to see what I could do with just one striped print and a solid, and they turned out really cute, but I wasn't gonna do anything else with them, so I made them into the best pouch. This is like perfect pencil size. And then this one, around the same time, I wanted to try the method of like sewing strips together and then cutting them apart and sewing them back together in like a checkerboard. And I ended up with this cute little block that was a different size than I intended for it to be. So I made it into this card wallet, and this is what I've been keeping my money cards in for a really long time now, and I love it. So zipper pouches, they can be made in all shapes and sizes. The tutorial I have for this is like very extensive, how to make them with boxed corners, without boxed corners. Any size that you want, you can learn to make a zipper pouch. Same technique for every size. Okay, the next thing, and you have probably seen this before if you've been around for a while, is a tote bag. I've made a lot of these. I made them for Mother's Day one year with like a panel, the hymns panel. But this was made from, I had started a quilt of the month, or a block of the month quilt club thing, and I only got like 2 blocks in. So instead of just letting them languish and making me feel guilty that I never finished, I turned them into this really sweet tote bag. And so this is one of those instances where I had to make the panel or the block bigger because I didn't just want a 12-inch square tote bag, right? So all I had to do though was add linen strips to the sides and the top. Super easy to make a quilt block bigger to make it the size you need for a project. So tote bags, you can inlay a quilt block into any kind of tote bag. Find a tote bag pattern, use the front pattern piece or dimensions, and just expand your quilt block to be that size, and then sew the bag as normal. The next one is pot holders, and I did this just recently. This was the last video I made last week actually. I was making these pot holders. Another one I made, I had a quilt block. Let's see, it looks like that one. Let me go get it. I already gave the pot holder to my mom, or I would show you. But I was making these wonky 9 patches. This is funny. If you want to find out if anyone in your family is a perfectionist, type A, OCD, whatever, show them this. My son's response was, "Mom, no, did you do that on purpose?" So this is like a crooked, wonky 9 patch. I think it's cute. So all I had to do was just take my circle pattern, not the one with the cell on the back. Take my circle pattern piece and cut it out to the right size. So if your block is just big enough, you can cut a circle out of it to make pot holders. Or you can go ahead and make a square pot holder. That would be the same. Like if you wanted to make this oversized hot pad, you would just make your square bigger by adding thicker side panels and thinner bottom panels. But hot pads are easy because they're already, like a lot of hot pads are already square and you already have a square quilt block, so it's kind of a no-brainer. The same goes for coasters. I have a lot of quilted coasters. You can watch this tutorial too. I made this little log cabin block, but also I made a video for some wonky stars, and I made one of those into a little Christmas coaster. So that's a cute idea too if you have small quilt blocks. Okay, one of my favorite things is this journal cover pattern that I have. This is specifically designed for the moleskin journals. These are my favorite ones. And what I had was, I went on vacation with my husband and I brought a hand sewing project and I was hand sewing crazy quilt blocks. And so what I ended up with was these small 8-inch blocks, and I was like, what am I gonna do with these? So I sort of tilted it. You can see the original block was this little square. So I tilted it, I added more pieces until it was big enough to make this journal cover. And this is one of my favorite things. I just think it's so sweet. So another thing you can do is make a Bible cover. I have a tutorial video for that. And any book cover, including, there's my book sleeve. I lost it. Oh well, I'll have Layla put a picture. You can make book sleeves in this way too, and the book sleeves already have some padding in them, so it'd be very easy to make a quilted version. You can just alter the quilt block for the size that you need it to be. Okay, sort of a no-brainer of things to do with single quilt blocks is to make a mini quilt out of them. Sometimes the block is just good enough to shine all on its own, so make a mini quilt, make it bigger if you need to. A table runner is another great idea. Maybe you have not one, but 3 quilt blocks. You could so easily make those into a beautiful table runner to display and get those lonesome quilt blocks out of your drawer and stop them from making you feel guilty for not finishing things. Doll quilts are another easy way to use up these quilt blocks. In fact, that log cabin block that I made for my house quilt would be such a cute doll quilt. I think instead of making it square, I would just add more strips onto the top and bottom, and then it would be a super cute little doll quilt. Something fun I've seen people do is add quilt blocks to clothing. And so especially, and what I think is really cute, I have this jean jacket. I've had this since the 90s, like it's so old. But wouldn't it be so cute to add a quilt block panel in between the seams on the back? Most jean jackets do have these seams on the back. And I've seen people add the coolest quilt block designs to the back of their jean jacket. I think that would be very cool. Another thing is to make, you could make a little pocket on something. I have a hat that I want to make a tiny quilt block for and sort of applicate it to the front of the hat. So embellishing clothing with those lonely blocks is a great idea too. I'm not big on the whole quilted clothing trend. Like I don't think I would ever wear a quilted coat or quilted pants or quilted skirt or anything like that, like out of an actual antique quilt. That's just not my style, but I definitely would put a quilt block on a piece of clothing. Okay, next up is pillows. It's so easy to make quilted pillows out of single quilt blocks. You just make a little quilt sandwich like you normally would for a big quilt, quilt it however you want, put a back on it, stuff it, and there you go. You have a great quilted pillow. Pillows also get seen a lot, just like table runners and mini quilts. So especially if you have one that you really love and that matches your decor, it's so much fun to make them into something that actually gets seen and looked at and used. Oh, I found it. Here's the book sleeve. It was sitting there the whole time. But you can see how easy it would be to make this into a quilt block version. Okay, last but not least, last Christmas time, I made a Christmas stocking. I made a set of Christmas stockings with a star block in the center, and I showed you how to do that in a video tutorial. You can get my stocking pattern from my shop. It's like the most perfect shaped stocking. I really worked hard on it, but it's so fun to put like a sweet small quilt block in a Christmas stocking. But also I've had some mini quilt blocks before that I thought would be really fun to stuff as little Christmas ornaments for the tree. I make like a small square with a hanger and stuff it a little bit. Those are cute. Shoot, I just thought of another one now. I forgot it already. It's gone. I forgot. It's never coming back. It'll come back right after I finish filming this video. Anyway, I hope that these ideas have been helpful for you. Mainly, the idea is to reimagine your orphan blocks into other things besides big quilts. I know I've had a video before on things to quilt that aren't big quilts, so these two kind of go hand in hand, but this video is more about what to do with those single quilt blocks that you made and now you have no idea what to do with. Some of them might actually turn into a whole quilt. I made one fish quilt block and all it took was that one, and I have already imagined how the entire quilt is gonna look. And it's not all gonna be fish. So sometimes maybe something is too complicated. One time I made this quilt block that's beautiful, but it really took a long time. And I know that I'm not gonna have enough steam to make an entire quilt with that block. So instead, I need to reimagine that into something on a smaller scale. So whatever you want to make, maybe you have like a duffel bag pattern, say, and you have a quilt block that you could incorporate into it as just the front pocket that goes between the straps. So try to reimagine those orphan quilt blocks, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. If you do come up with something cool, you have to share it with me. You can shoot me an email or tag me on Instagram at pincutsew. Send me a message there. I love to see what you all make. Yeah, until next time, I'll see y'all later. Bye.